Tonight, is it Christmas already, or are retailers just after our money early? Superheroes taking it to the streets, our Friday Metro whip around, plus Tony Martin, Beth Ditto and Deborah Lee Furness. This is the 7pm Project.
Hello, it's Friday night here at the 7pm Project, and to see off the week, please welcome Tom Gleeson and Tony Martin. We've got a whole lot to talk about, but first, Carrie, what's happening in the world right now?
Well, in the news today, Friday the 13th of November, and the government has made some headway with the 78 asylum seekers aboard the Oceanic Viking. Around 20 of the Sri Lankans have agreed to disembark in return for having their visas fast-tracked in the hope to live in Australia. A WA farmer has handed over what he claims is Ned Kelly's skull. Scientists say it may be impossible to confirm if it is indeed the bushranger's skull, which was stolen from the old Melbourne jail in 1978. An 11-year-old Sydney schoolboy claims he was assaulted by Muslim students for eating a salami sandwich during Ramadan. The boy has since been withdrawn from the school by his parents. And an unexpected surprise for members of Virgin Blue's Velocity loyalty scheme this afternoon. This is some late news that's come in. An email offered members fast-tracked gold status, providing them with star treatment at airports. Now, according to Virgin Blue's call centre, the email's actually been mistakenly sent to as many as 2 million customers.
This is quite
very exciting.
It's very exciting because I got one of these emails. A bunch of people have got them.
I got it.
And it offers, the things that it offers you get free lounge membership, apparently, a luggage increase to 32 kilograms, and a memorable weekend in Newcastle with Richard Branson.
I mean, you do feel for the person that's accidentally, or the system that's accidentally sent out this email.
Well, you can. I don't care if it's an accident. I think we should all claim gold membership. Okay, all of you out there who got the email, let's just take it. We can if we want to. Why not? They sent it to us. They said that we're a member, so let's just all turn up tomorrow.
We all just rock up to Virgin tomorrow.
You just turn up to the lounge. We're here. We got the email. We all got the email. We're here.
I'm here for my romantic weekend with Richard Branson. Now, going back to that story, the kid who was allegedly assaulted over a salami sandwich by Muslim students for not observing Ramadan was the story. Now, I found it really confusing. It's quite a complicated story. And I just thought this morning, if only there was someone who could really explain it to me. And thankfully, the Herald Sun did the job. Have a look at this. Herald Sun ran the article to help me out. OK, I've kind of got my head around the headline. A salami sandwich.
And note how it isn't the salami sandwich, it's a salami sandwich.
Salami sandwich.
The sandwich was exclusively signed to a different newspaper. But, I mean, this is a serious business and we shouldn't make too much fun, but I was actually beaten up at school several times for eating a Golden Gay Time. I was actually wearing arseless chaps at the time, which was a bold move in a state school, but be careful.
They shouldn't try to make out that it's a Muslim thing. That's the thing that I don't like. I mean, this happens with other religions. Like, I went to a Catholic school and during Lent I got beat up for not being guilty enough.
Kids at school can be so cruel. Yeah.
Well, now here's a story that caught my eye today. Jules Clancy is a biscuit designer and a food blogger who last year managed to score a reservation with her boyfriend at one of the world's most exclusive restaurants, El Bulli, in Spain. Now, since then, unfortunately, the boyfriend is gone, but she still has the booking. So she's actually looking for someone to take on the date with her to this restaurant. And she joins us now from a Sydney restaurant. Jules, hi, welcome. Tell us what's so special about this place.
Hi, well, simply it's the best restaurant in the world. It's been voted best restaurant in the world for the last 4 years. And it's been initially difficult to get a reservation. Last year they had 2 million requests for 8,000 seats across the season, so it's really tough.
So how have you gone about so far finding someone to take with you?
Well, did what any self-respecting blogger would do and ran a competition on my blog, so just put it out there to see if anyone would come along.
Now, you've got quite a lot of people responding to that, over 100 from Australia. How are you going to choose someone to go on the date with you?
Well, I'm kind of narrowing it down to a short list, and on Sunday I'm going over to some friends' place. They've got 3-month-old twin girls, so I thought I'd take the applications over there and some photos and show the girls and see what they have to say about it.
Yeah, now my wife, Ellie Parker, is a food writer and a food blogger, so I was thinking the perfect person to take along might be me. Would you consider that? Because I'd love to make her really bloody jealous.
We have to send me an email by all means.
All right, no worries, because my wife is very open-minded and you're actually a bit hot.
Well, we'll let you get back to your dinner. Thanks so much for that, Jules, and yeah, let us know how you go.
I will. Thanks, guys.
Okay. You're genuinely tempted now. You've actually thought it through.
Yeah, I want a trip and, yeah, OK.
It's actually a very romantic idea, though. I like the idea, you know.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's a long way to go on a blind date. It is.
Well, you'd hope you'd get at least a pash at the end or
Well,
something.
I think more than a pash. I'm thinking, well, coffee.
After dinner,
All right, I'm thinking heavy petting, but let's not go into that.
Maybe you look at some of her new biscuit designs. We never really sadly had time to approach that subject with her, but she is one of the great biscuit designers.
And now to a perennial story. Yep, the Christmas decorations are up already, and it's time for us all to open our wallets.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
It seems to come earlier every year, but right around the country, not even mid-November, Santa's being rolled out and the bells and baubles are being strung pillar to post. Retailers across the country are gearing up to tell us to buy, buy, buy. Now, research says on average you're about to spend at least $500. If you're young and single, you'll buy yourself a prezi, and each and every one of us will blow the budget by at least $250. So is it a Merry Christmas, or are we just about to be sucked in again?
Dr. Paul Harrison is Senior Lecturer at Deakin University and an expert on marketing. Thanks for your time, Paul. Why does this Christmas frenzy start so early in the year?
Oh, it's a simple one, Charlie. They just want us to buy stuff. I mean, the reality is that in terms of Christmas, it used to be wait until Thanksgiving in the US, which was the fourth Thursday in November, but now Halloween happens in Australia and they start selling straight after that.
So how does this long build-up affect people's budget going into Christmas?
Oh, there's a really interesting kind of psychological thing going on called priming, which is getting us ready. And so part of this is not just about getting people to go out and buy stuff straight away, but actually to get them into the zone to actually go and buy Christmas presents.
Well, now Christmas is still 6 weeks away. Have you got any tips for us how we can kind of stay on track with the budget?
Well, I reckon the big one is don't take your credit card, because research suggests that you're going to spend 40% more than you would if you buy your presents with cash. Take a list, which is old and boring, and think about who you're buying for, and actually kind of do a little bit of planning beforehand. So do a bit of reconnaissance and work out what are the best gifts, who's important, who isn't, and you know, just take your time. The anxiety is a big part of that sales process.
And obviously, of course, gather up all your crap you got last year and re-gift it to people you don't really like.
Right. And use the old paper as well.
Thank you very much, Dr. Paul Harrison. Merry Christmas.
Too soon. It is too soon. I can't cope with it.
I don't know about you. I find Christmas for mums in particular is a very stressful time. And if they walk into supermarkets now and hear jingle bells and see Christmas trees, they just get tense, wouldn't they? Don't they start getting tense right now?
And no matter how soon you try and start your shopping, you're still there in the rush on Christmas Eve with the kids running around just going, I can't find something, you know.
Now, what you can do is actually do your Christmas shopping in the Boxing Day sales, because you save money, and then you're ready to go for the next year. You get all the presents, so you're good to go. Then you go down to the shopping centre on Christmas Eve and you just sit there and be really smug. Watch everyone else stress out.
Well, good advice there, but hey, a big story, guys. Police in LA received a report of an assault by a man in a Spider-Man costume, but when they arrived at the scene, they found 4 different people, all dressed as Spider-Man. It's the latest in a string of violent incidents involving the costumed impersonators who vie for space along Hollywood Boulevard. Now, Tom, do you know what this is about?
I've been over to Hollywood Boulevard. If you don't know, essentially it's where all the stars are on the pavement, and so a lot of people go there to look at the stars. But a lot of people turn up just dressed up as superheroes,
right.
You know, movie stars, and you know, dressed as movie stars or movie characters like Freddy Krueger, and they just get into photos, for extra bucks or something like that. They do it for tips.
And
So
then the fights develop because of
Well, they want
fighting
certain street corners or
They're all
something.
got their turf because they're essentially like street performers.
Right.
They're actually like fancy dressed hookers fighting over the same corner, and there's no pimps to regulate it. It's quite difficult.
Yeah.
Well, there's a great shot. We don't have it, but the papers had 2 policemen leading a Spider-Man away. And I think if you were those 2 cops, wouldn't the temptation be to dress up as Dr. Octopus and the Green Goblin? It would be very hard to resist, but it is an ongoing problem. Here's some footage of an earlier fight between some other characters. There you go. It's a very low-rent Batman. I think that's actually Val Kilmer. That's what he does. 2 years ago, the authorities even convened a superhero summit to reduce tension amongst the performers. But unfortunately, it was held inside a mountain at the North Pole, so very few
Apparently,
attendees.
that fight was broken up by a guy dressed as the cop from the Village People. So that it was quite an exciting day for all the kids.
I just think there's got to be a standard introduced for... That was a very poor Spider-Man, and you don't like to see a baggy sort of arse and cape dragging on the ground. When I was a kid, my grandmother actually knitted me a Batman costume. That's the sort of... Yeah, it was like, if you can imagine, an all-over grey tea cosy. I don't still have it. I remember the Bat Cow had a pom-pom on the top, which is quite a poor look. Look, we've covered the big news. Can I just settle a couple of scores, a couple of minor issues here by addressing a couple of people directly? Sorry, guys. The guy who I got a lift in from, the cab driver from Melbourne Airport today, the name of the film... we were talking about is Mao's Last Dancer. Can you run the poster there just to prove it? This man, from all the way from Melbourne Airport to the Coburg turn-off, insisted the name of the film was Mao's Last Answer. I could not convince him otherwise.
That evokes an image of Mao Zedong on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
That's right.
Just going, is that your last answer? Oh, I don't know, Eddie. I don't know.
Is it growing pains? One more score I'd like to just take out here. The people who work at Cole Drake's bookstore in Brisbane. It's a very good bookshop, but I've had a lot of emails this week. There are 3 copies of my book, A Nest of Occasionals, currently languishing in queer non-fiction. If those could be moved over into the humour section, and while you're doing that, if you could move all the copies of Koshy's joke book and move them into queer non-fiction, that would obviously help out.
That is the most self-deprecating book plug of all time. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more on the 7pm Project.
Next, JD gives us an Idol update. Ruby chats with Beth Ditto. And we're joined by the wonderful Deborah Lee Finesse. This is the 7pm Project.
Welcome back, and please welcome to desk the gorgeous and talented Deborah Lee Finesse. Welcome.
National Adoption Awareness Week. I've had some friends who've been through the process in Australia and they found it really, really hard.
It is really, really hard.
Why is it so hard to adopt in Australia?
That was why I'm sitting here, is because I said, why is it so hard? Because I have 2 adopted children, which I adopted in the States, people in Australia would always come to me and say, I would love to adopt, but it's just too hard here. And the process here takes between 4 to 10 years, an average of 4 to 7 years, whereas in other countries, 12 to 18 months.
So I imagine that the stage of life that you're at now, compared to when you may adopt in 10 years' time, it may change drastically over that time. Where, like, your preparedness to be with children and raise them, and where you are at in your life can change so much in that time.
Absolutely, and a lot of people get aged out of the process. They're going through the process, a lot of expenditure, and it's a very invasive process. You have to jump through a lot of hoops, and I absolutely say that there should be due diligence. You know, everyone should jump through those hoops to get there, but it shouldn't be this hard. And there are 143 million orphans in the world, and you know, we've got all these parents, people that would love to be parents, and what stands in the middle of it? It's ridiculous.
Now, you speak about orphans in the world. Obviously, the most we hear about adoption are people like Madonna and Angelina adopting in Africa and Asian countries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What sort of impact does that have on an awareness? Is that a positive or negative influence?
I think it's a very positive awareness. I mean, anyone that is bringing this issue to the fore, I think there should be an international summit. This is a very real issue. What do we do with all these kids? I mean, we have 30,000 kids in foster care in Australia. We have all these orphans in the world. So the fact that they happen to be celebrities, there's a lot of plumbers, they just don't get the press coverage. You know, so they're bringing awareness that there are children there that would love a permanent, loving family.
Do you think it's annoying, though, for people that have been waiting and just, you know, average Aussies who are waiting desperately to have a family, and then they see Madonna just, you know, waltz all over?
That's not because she's a celebrity.
Is it not, though? They don't get fast-tracked because they are celebrities?
No, well, we didn't. I mean, we had to go through all the due diligence. No, you cannot do that. What happened with Madonna was a different issue in Malawi. But I think that raised a very interesting question, because the choice was Madonna could adopt this child, or this child was going back into an institution. What was the choice?
Yeah.
You know? And so you make the appropriate call on that particular situation. We can't look at it as a big general thing. Every child should be a different situation that you
just
address.
kind of feels like sometimes you hear Angelina, oh, she wants to adopt another child, and a month later she's got the other child. I mean, I'm sure it's
but
not
she's
that
an American
simple, but that's
it
how
is- it does move
sometimes.
fast.
She's
in the
about to
States.
adopt, I think, her 8th child. Is it possible to become addicted to adoption?
She
Is that possible?
She is at Adoption Anonymous, I know. No, Hugh, my husband made a joke recently. I think he said, I'm here with my wife and my 2 beautiful children, or what Angelina calls the ones that got away.
Deborah Lee Finesse, thank you for coming on and telling us about Adoption Awareness Week.
And you can actually find out more details about National Adoption Awareness Week at our website, 7pmproject.com.au.
Now, we are only 2 weeks away from the Australian Idol wrapping up with the grand final, and we move to the business end of the competition. To tell us all about it, we cross to JD Springbet. JD, it's really starting to heat up, mate. Are you feeling the tension?
Oh, I'm feeling the tension. I don't know if it's the business end of the competition or the Centrelink end of the competition, ladies. One of the two. But no, this week's expecting some big surprises, and we're going to air the winner single for the first time. So I'm personally excited about that because between myself and Ross Fraser, we've got a little personal competition as to whose song's the best.
And I hear you had someone very close to my heart coming on to Mentor this weekend.
Oh, I've heard, yes, Mr. Bublé. He's going to be on the show this week, and I think it's going to be great. I've heard there's going to be 3 performances. I've heard he's been just mentoring the kids this week, and what a great coup to have someone of his stature actually on the show.
JD, I just wanted to know too, is Ricky Lee still in the top 3?
I believe so. Ricky Lee is the top 3, isn't she?
Sorry, I haven't watched it for a while. Sorry. Yeah, sorry about that.
It's all right, I'll let
just
you
ignore
off.
that. Sorry about that.
Now, as you said, the finalists will be singing songs that have been written for them. Who has written those songs? What's the story behind them, JD?
Oh, they're songs that we've gone out and sourced from the market. I know that Stans was written by the same person who wrote Burn for Jessica Mauboy. We've got some American guys who have done Hayley's single. And I think the people who have done James's single are Swedish.
Well, we're very keen to hear how they come up. Thank you very much, JD Springbet. Idol.
Yeah, see you guys.
7:30 Sunday here on Channel 10. Don't miss it.
Well, speaking of music, and you may not know the name, but you'll definitely know the music. Off the back of the breakthrough album Standing in the Way of Control, Gossip have become one of the highest played acts on radio. Ruby Rose got to chat to outspoken lead singer Beth Ditto this week. Check it out.
Are crazy in the band.
I am a little bit crazy.
And you do like to get a bit naked on stage?
Sometimes. I used to do it a lot more than I do now. We used to just play these incredibly hot shows. Like, everybody was shirtless. It's also this thing about being, like, feminism and taking back what it means to be in a nude space and, like, what your body means and how blah, blah, blah. It was really political, and then also it was just really hot. And, like, why can't we take our shirts off, too? If it weren't for, like, political punk movements, I would never be a musician. Like, there's no way I could have done what I do because I would never have been empowered to just be myself. And it really is that simple. And I never would have been empowered to, like, feel proud of my volume in my voice. Like, I've always been told I was too loud, took up too much space. I mean, all of the really good soul records was some kind of resistance. You know, it was made out of resistance in a way. So it's something that is really important to me, to make people feel empowered.
Is it true that if you weren't doing music, you would want to be a hairdresser?
Yeah, definitely.
Really?
I have a little savings account that built interest just as a nest egg for when music crashes and burns. I can be a hairdresser.
What kind of hair would you want to do? Like,
I think it's always been my dream to do old lady perms.
amazing. Bring them back and do them like extra special.
No, I was just thinking about old ladies. Are we done?
The deluxe edition of Gossip's Music for Men is out now, and you can watch Ruby's full-length interview with Beth on our website, 7pmproject.com.au.
And we'll be right back with the Metro Whip Around.
Next week, Sam Clark, Clive James, Kate Sobrano, Michael Bublé, plus a special Twilight New Moon preview. And now the Metro Whip Around.
Yes, it's time for the Metro Whip Around, and for the very first time, by popular demand, we cross to Hobart and Gavin Baskerville. Gavin, what's happening in Tassie this weekend?
Well, Hobart's very exciting. The Hobart Fringe Festival is just about to begin. It starts tonight and goes till the 22nd of November. As part of that, tomorrow night they've got a night market at the in Criterion Street, which promises a lot of fringy stuff, which I assume by that they mean alternative rather than just hairy. Although maybe that's why they're having the market in the dark of night. The other big news, of course, is we've got Beer Fest all day tomorrow. So, I'll be down there at Prince's Wharf, pretending that I can tell the difference between a Pilsner and an ale, and pretending even harder that I care.
Thanks, Gav. And now we're across to Tim Blackwell in Brisbane. What's going on there?
Thanks, Carrie. As you know, a lot of one-trick ponies in Australia at the moment. Britney Spears with her miming, you got Tiger Woods with his putting stuff or whatever. How is this? Cop this, Australia. OK, we have the one-man Star Wars show in town. Ladies, yes. Now, this guy's name is Charles Ross. He travels around the world. He's seen the trilogy over 400 times. Virgin. But he does all 40 characters on stage, including all the effects. He does all the effects himself. Now, I've never seen Star Wars ever, so this is like Star Wars for dummies for me. So get down there. It's on Sunday at the Lyric Theatre. And Star Wars fans, take a date. No, that's not going to happen.
Thanks, Tim. Now, what's happening in Melbourne, Tom Ballard?
Hey guys, well, tomorrow night at George Lane Bar in St Kilda, DJs will be vying out for this belt in the 2009 iPod Battle. And it's basically like boxing, except instead of throwing punches, you use songs. Or if you're Ike Turner, you do both. Now, these iPod battles can get pretty dangerous. In Europe, a guy went a maverick route and just put his iPod on shuffle to see what would happen. He ended up playing Ebony and Ivory, and the crowd beat him to death. Also, this Sunday in Federation Square will be the annual Polish Festival. There'll be great music, great food, and best of all, some good old-fashioned pole dancing. Who doesn't love good old-fashioned pole dancing? It's fun for the whole family. Grab grandma, grab the kids, and go see some of the best pole dancing this side of Gdansk.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tom Ballard. We cross to Sydney now. Dools, what's going on?
Charlie, in a democratic nation, there are numerous ways you can affect change. You could start a petition, get a letter-writing competition going, or conversely, you could get a bunch of mates, dress up as zombies and lurch around the city. And thankfully for us, a group of politically savvy Sydney-siders are doing option 3 tomorrow in Hyde Park. They're dressing up as zombies to actually protest the video game rating system in Australia. These zombies believe that the video games are too violent or not violent enough. I didn't read up on it. I don't really care. But what I do care about is the fact that if these zombies can affect change, it's going to be the first time since the 1975 constitutional crisis that zombies have had a say in Australian politics.
Thanks, Scott. And finally, we cross to Fitzy in Adelaide.
Hey guys, one thing that we have worked out in Adelaide is that Mother Nature is a massive mole, because tomorrow is going to be our 6th day in the high 30s, but it's not going to stop the Credit Union Christmas pageant. I can confirm, guys, that Santa Claus will be there. He's going to be sweating more than Britney Spears at a karaoke contest, but he definitely will be there. There's going to be over 60 floats, 250 clowns, and how funny is it going to be to see clowns in 40-degree heat? I will laugh at that. And also, this guy here, this is Bruto, guys. And if you got a slip, slop, slap tomorrow, Bruto didn't in rehearsals today, and look how burnt he is. So get the sunscreen. We'll see you down there at 9:30 tomorrow.
Thanks very much, Fitzy. Fitzy, are you participating in Movember, or have you just gone back to your career as a pornographer?
Well, see, Charlie, this is the thing. I can't go down to the pageant tomorrow because of Mo hanging around kids. It just looks very, very wrong.
Thanks, Fitzy, and thanks to all of our whip-arounders. Carrie, some last-minute headlines.
Yeah, just before we go to some breaking news, and some of the Sri Lankan asylum seekers on the Oceanic Viking have actually begun to leave the ship after undergoing medical and identity checks by Indonesian officials. An unknown number of the 78 ethnic Tamils have been moved from the Australian vessel to ferries. And also a Queensland driver under the effects of marijuana blew his cover when he talked to police about mystical dragons. After initially passing a breath test, police say the 22-year-old raised suspicions when he began speaking about fictional winged characters.
This is a rough story. I feel sorry for Gandalf. Imagine if Gandalf ever got pulled over by RBT. Gandalf would be there saying, well, I'm the designated driver for the Hobbits, and he gets tested for drugs. He's like, dude, I'm a wizard. Lighten up. That's my thing.
Surely you could just got the dragon to drive him home.
There are a lot of young people that are about to sit their driving tests right now, get their licences, and they've seen that, and they've learnt something tonight. Don't talk about mystical dragons behind the wheel. That's us for another week. Thanks to all of our guests, Deborah Lee Finesse, Tony Martin, Tom Gleeson. And next week, Michael Bublé up next to Simpsons for an hour on Channel 10. Good night.